a reaction coming in on the situation in Afghanistan. Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan can be once again seen batting for Taliban. He says incentivize Taliban on women's rights and inclusive government. So Pakistan Prime Minister Imran Khan is batting for Taliban to develop a consensus that would lead to recognition of the new caretaker government of the Islamic Emirate in Afghanistan. He says that the best way forward for peace and stability in Afghanistan is to engage with the Taliban and incentivize them on issues such as women's rights and inclusive government. Let me go across to my colleague Crispino joining us from the Afghan desk. Crispino, here's the Pakistan Prime Minister once again talking about how Taliban can be encouraged and motivated to, in fact, follow a regime, rather follow a mode of governance wherein they will be looking into women's rights more carefully. They will be looking at an inclusive government, something that has not happened so far. Not a single woman representative in the new caretaker government. How they've spoken of women not being able to play cricket in days to come. The women's soccer team there has already left the country. Nothing gives a signal that Taliban could change. Their approach towards women can change, yet you have Pakistan Prime Minister batting for them openly.
Absolutely, Kritzveen. Pakistan Prime Minister openly backing the Taliban and urging world countries to, in fact, legitimize the new government in Afghanistan. And he goes on to, in fact, say that the world must incentivize the Taliban on women's rights and having an inclusive government. In fact, in his statement, he goes on to say that, they must be encouraged, they must be given a second chance, they must be given some time so that they understand that they need to give rights to women as well as have an inclusive government with all stakeholders. Because what Afghanistan is facing right now at this point of time is having a legitimate government, and the world is not, in fact, legitimizing Taliban terrorists who have announced their new government at this point of time. So they're trying to even have their funds, the financial funds as well in Afghanistan. Now let me just take you through that statement once again of what Imran Khan had said. He said, and I quote, the Taliban holds all of Afghanistan, and if they can sort of now work towards an inclusive government, get all the factions together, Afghanistan could have peace after 40 years. And he goes on to say that, but if it goes wrong, which is what we are really worried about, it could go to chaos, and the biggest humanitarian crisis is a huge refugee problem. And he also goes on to say here that it's a mistake to think that someone from outside will give rights to women of Afghanistan, and only the Taliban can do it. So it's such a bizarre statement here. He's batting for the terrorists in Afghanistan, going all out with his the army to, in fact, help Afghanistan at this point of time, with Pakistan providing the military support. They are a proxy of China. Everybody knows it, how the Chinese involvement in Afghanistan at this point of time and giving them funds. And here we go and seeing Imran Khan openly backing the new Taliban regime, saying that the world must give them time so that, and they need to be incentivized so that they could give women their rights as well as have all stakeholders on board so that the new government can be legitimized.
Absolutely. Forget women, sports for women under the Taliban regime. They failed to ensure basic safety for women. The past 1 month, we've seen the reality on ground with how it was Taliban supporters who could be seen beating and thrashing women on the streets who were staging a protest against the new regime. Thank you, Crispino, for getting us that quick update.